Thanks for joining us here at noon. I'm China Green. We begin with a demand for change from nurses inside Multnomah County jails. In a letter sent to top leaders, the Multnomah County Corrections health nurses say they are facing a staffing crisis, which is causing many to take on excessive forced overtime and work in unsafe conditions. And they say it won't get better until the county makes a change at the top. KGW's Alma McCarty spoke with one nurse to find out more about the changes they want to see.
When choosing this career,
I am one of the few pediatric corrections health nurses.
Jacob Metcalf understood there'd be unique demands.
Some people are very down in their luck, some people that are accused of doing some very heinous things, but I absolutely don't care.
That's because his focus is healthcare, caring for the incarcerated youth inside Multnomah County's juvenile detention center.
I want to make a difference, try and make an impact in our juvenile incarcerated clients' lives and hopefully not end up at the adult jail.
But at all jails in the county, he and his fellow O&A nurses say they're hitting a breaking point. Overworked and underpaid.
Since we have incarcerated individuals, we have to provide medicine, we have to be there, we have to take care of their acute mental health needs. We cannot not do the job. You need to have the resources to be fully staffed to be able to do the job safely.
The director and nursing supervisor specifically named in a multi-page letter from the union to county commissioners, the health department, and the sheriff. In it, nurses write they no longer have any confidence in these select members and are now calling for their removal.
And what else has to happen before we have a chance for new leadership? That's all we're asking for.
Corrections nurses claim gross mismanagement by the current director, who they say left for over a month during a crisis of inmate deaths last year, created a hostile work environment, and ignored staff's concerns about the conditions in the jails. County Chair Jessica Vega-Peterson told KGW she's very concerned about the allegations and stated, "All of us are committed to the safety and health of everyone in our detention centers." She says she's been working to schedule a meeting with union reps. The union is also pushing to present their case to the full Board of Commissioners.
I care about the county. I care about doing this job. I want to work this job until I retire. I want to go the distance.
Alma McCarty, KGW News.
Meanwhile, in her budget proposal, Multnomah County Chair Jessica Vega-Peterson wants to boost spending to address homelessness. So the nearly $4 billion budget calls for a 24% increase on homelessness spending for things like housing placement, shelter improvements, and support services. There's also money allocated for a partnership with the city of Portland to take on retail and car thefts. The county board will meet over the next several weeks with the goal of adopting a final budget in early June. It covers the fiscal year starting in July. In your other local headlines this afternoon, Portland police are investigating 3 armed robberies to determine if they're connected. The first robbery happened just before 11 Thursday morning at Joe's Cellar on Northwest 21st. Then a few minutes later, police were called to another robbery at the Dockside Restaurant and Bar on Northwest Front Avenue. And finally, officers responded to a deli in Southwest Portland off Beaverton Hillsdale Highway. Luckily, no one was hurt in any of these robberies, and so far, no one has been arrested. A Douglas County man is facing criminal charges after authorities say he broke into a fish hatchery near the Oregon coast and dumped a bottle of bleach into a holding pond, killing thousands of young Chinook salmon. KGW's David Molko spoke with the volunteers running the hatchery, who say they're upset and they want increased security.
Nothing like this.
And it shocked volunteers who had worked for almost a year to get their fall Chinook salmon ready for the wild.
Next month, these would have been released into Winchester Bay.
18 to 20,000 of the fish, hand-raised at this hatchery in Gardner on the central Oregon coast, were almost ready.
You're there from the moment we catch the brood stock to taking the eggs and spawning them and then raising them in the tanks. And, you see them go from eggs in mama to babies.
That was until Sunday.
I knew something was seriously wrong, and then when I looked in and saw them all dead, I wanted to cry, and then I wanted to, I got mad too. It's like, what happened here,
Turns out someone had broken in and apparently dumped bleach into one of the ponds. Disheartening not only for volunteers, but other locals that rely on the fish as a key part of their economy.
It means a lot it draws guides and people from out of state on our fishing derbies. We get people from Idaho and California that come up here to catch some of our fish that come in here. So it means a lot to us.
Authorities caught the suspect just a few days later walking right outside the hatchery entrance. Police say he told them he was high on marijuana at the time of the crime and remembered handling the bleach, but didn't recall how he broke in or how the bleach got into the pond.
We're looking into putting a fence and security system on this from now on, reinforcing the door.
That was our David Mokel reporting, and the suspect, 22-year-old Joshua Heckathorn, now faces several charges, including poaching, burglary, and trespassing. Well, some sad news for fans of one Portland area noodle spot. After 11 years, the owners of Boxer Ramen announced all 4 of their metro locations will close for good this weekend. In a Facebook post, they say this is because of lingering struggles from the pandemic, compounded by inflation. They're inviting everyone in for one last meal during regular hours through Sunday. All right, a quick break from your local headlines. Checking in with meteorologist Rod Hill for our forecast. There's a lot of green on that screen there behind you.
A lot of rain, a lot of clouds. This continues to be a cool weather pattern with a lack of sunshine, and you can see clearly everybody has at least a measurable rain chance in their forecast across Oregon and Washington. So far, it's been mostly light showers here in Portland. The rain, as expected, has been fairly steady down around Newport, Salem, and into Albany. Here's how much rain we picked up. Now, if you look at the coast, North Bend 61 100ths, Astoria only 12 100ths of an inch. We talked about this morning on Sunrise. More rain to the south, less to the north. Not as pronounced in the valley. Eugene 6 100ths of an inch. Pretty light stuff, right? Portland 3 100ths of an inch. These are rain amounts since midnight and just over a trace up in the Kelso Longview area where we expect you folks to be fairly dry in terms of anything in the rain gauge this afternoon. Our live cameras, they all look the same. Here's Lincoln City from the Chinook Winds Casino Resort Cam, 57 degrees. It is dry right on the gorge, and the wind direction is still from the south, so the gorge has fairly light winds. That's some breaks in the cloud cover from Hood River. That's the Indian Creek Golf Course. That's the brightest spot I can find. Downtown Portland, we're at 57. I have up today's high to about 60 degrees, still only 3 degrees warming this afternoon, showers continuing and clouds. Nothing stormy, just the drip and the drip and the drip. China?
And the drip. All right, Rod Hill, thank you. We want to continue our KGW Solutions project with a look at education, but specifically chronic absenteeism. So that's when students miss at least 10% of school days. And as we've reported, it's a problem for school districts across Oregon. But officials in one district say they figured out a way to reverse the trend. In Jervis, chronic absenteeism dropped 12% for elementary school and 17% in middle school. Administrators say they're getting creative to find solutions, and one way is with incentives, things like hosting popcorn parties and giving prizes to kids when behavior changes for the better.
We're calling you in because we've noticed that you've taken it to heart and you've improved, and we want to recognize that for you.
You can check out the full story on KGW.com and see what state lawmakers are doing to help. And if you know someone or an organization doing good work in our community to solve some of the biggest challenges, we want to hear from you. Email solutions@kgw.com.